What it is, what it ain't, what it's gonna be. Hey, my collective cuties. Welcome back to another Creatrix Collective tutorial. Today I'm gonna be showing you how to make this rope bunny corset. Very cutesy, very demure, very mindful. She's an accessory piece and meant to jazz up any wardrobe choice. Let's get right into it. This is everything that you're gonna need. Of course, it's gonna be listed below. First, we're going to start off with our chain. I chained up 50, and you're going to see once I finish my chain of 50, I'm going to stretch this chain around my body to test the fit, and you do not want your ends to meet. If the ends of your chain meet, then it's not going to give you that, how should I say, oomph that the corset effect creates, because obviously this isn't a real boned corset. It just creates that effect. Okay, so after you finish your chain, again, we're going to test that yarn stretch. Wrap it around yourself and pull. You have to test the integrity of that yarn, and again, you don't want those ends to meet. From there, we're just going to continue on. It's fairly simple. Chain 2, then you're going to insert your chain back down that foundation chain, and you're going to double crochet your way back down. And that is the majority of this pattern. You are going to crochet until you have 10 to 15 rows, depending on the length of your torso and how wide you want your corset to be, how much coverage you want it to have. After you finish that first row, you just continue on. Chain 2, turn your work, and again, we are double crocheting until we have the length that we desire. And after you've reached your desired length, this is what it should look like. A simple rectangular style panel. I did about 13 rows before I ended my panel. And now I am counting 10 spaces at the top on both sides. I'm going to stitch mark. This is where my O-rings are going to go when I'm ready to add them. From here, we are going to turn the panel to the side and add in our lace up lining. This is the area where you are going to lace up and cinch your corset. Be very mindful, whatever you do to one side, it also has to be done to the other side, just to make sure things are even. I am attaching my yarn at the very bottom row, and I'm going to add in a total of 20 single crochets. And that makes 20. After you finish your stitches, you're going to chain up 3, turn your work, count 1, 2, 3 spaces, and slip stitch. Again, you're going to chain up 3, and I'm sorry that the angle is a little off. Count 3 spaces and slip stitch. And you are going to do this for the entire length. And again, what you do to one side must be done to the other side, so you'll also be repeating this on the second half of your panel. Once you're done, this is what it should look like. You want to also make sure you count those spaces so that it matches up on both sides. Remember, what you do to one side has to be done to the other side. Now we're going to attach our O-rings, and this pattern doesn't require the O-rings, but if you know, you know. You can find them in, a hardware section of a local store. But you're going to remove your stitch marker, add in your hook, and put the O-ring on your hook. From there, we're going to, make our slip knot. I'm sorry that the angle is a little off, you guys. Attach the yarn to your hook. And we're going to attach this to the piece with, okay, so I started off with single crochets, as you can see, but then I switched over to half double crochets. You can do either or, whatever makes you feel more secure. And if you are not using O-rings for this project, the place where you stitch marked is where you would insert your chain into. And I'll get into that a little later when we're doing the tying. But as you see, I've added in my 5 half double crochets. I'm just going to tie off, hide those ends, and I've already done that on the other side. But again, you want to repeat everything you do to one side to the other side so they match. Once you've done adding your O-rings, meet me back here. And now that both of our O-rings are attached, the last thing we have to do is make our chains. I am going to double up my yarn because I want this to be kind of like a rope. And you're going to need 2 separate chains. One chain for the lacing and cinching of the corset, and a second, much longer chain that you'll use to tie up the corset in various ways. I am making my slip knot, and I'm just going to chain. So meet me back here when you're done making both of those chains. Now it's time to lace. You are going to insert the string into the top section that you created with the chain 3 skip a space effect. And you want to make sure that both of the ends of your chain meet before you start to lace up the corset. The pattern is crossover. As you can see here, I am skipping a space and inserting. I'm going to count again, skip a space, and insert. And that is the pattern all the way down, cross over. And we're going to, adjust. The O-rings have it hanging down right now because they are pretty heavy. But cross over, skip a space, insert, count your spaces, and insert. After that, we're going to cinch her up. I should have made my chain a little bit longer than this, but we're going to cinch her up and tie her off. And that is the bottom portion of the corset. Now we're going to move on to the lacing of the top half. You're going to insert your chain, take it around your neck, and we're going to put it through the other side of our O-ring. Again, you want to make sure that those chains are even on both sides. For this design, you want to cross over the strands. I'm not sure if I can adequately explain this. I'm gonna just let y'all watch me do it. I know I'm a visual learner. hopefully these visuals can help you. This corset can really be tied up however you see fit. It's meant to be played around with. It's versatile. It's meant for exploring and experimenting. So I hope you have fun exploring and experimenting with this design and styling it, tying it. It's just a really fun piece. This is another way that it can be tied. And again, I'm just going to let you watch me do it. But I just wanted to speak on the fact that if you do not have the O-rings, this is where your chains would be inserted, where the O-rings are. You may want to, when you stitch mark that section, add in an extra space or add in something that signifies that as the space where your chain goes, just so that you remember where the chain goes. But that's only if you're not using O-rings. And again, this pattern doesn't necessarily require the O-rings. They're just fun to have. This angle is really crazy, but I'm simply just tying the chain behind my neck right now. If you guys would like a better angled video of me tying this corset, please let me know. Again, I do apologize for the angle. But y'all, I thank you for joining me on this tutorial. The Rope Bunny corset, she's a fun piece to have in your collection, and I hope you add her to your collection and have a fun time making her. Till next time, the Creatrix Collective signing off.